Lesson 4: Empathy in Interpreting Practice. Understanding empathy. Empathy is the ability to recognize, understand, and share the feelings of another person. It goes beyond sympathy, feeling for someone, and involves feeling with them, sensing what they are experiencing emotionally, and seeing things from their perspective. For sign language interpreters, empathy is not only a human response, it is a critical professional tool. Empathy allows interpreters to connect with deaf and hearing clients authentically, anticipate emotional tone, and reflect messages in a way that honors both meaning and intent. However, unlike emotional entanglement, empathy in interpreting is balanced with neutrality. The goal is not to absorb or act on the client's emotions, but to recognize them and render communication with accuracy and respect for the emotional context. Types of empathy and their application. There are three types of empathy relevant to interpreting. Cognitive empathy, understanding what the other person feels or thinks. This helps interpreters grasp the intention behind a message, especially when tone or metaphor is involved. Emotional empathy, feeling what the other person feels. For interpreters, this can help reflect emotional tone appropriately through facial expressions and body language. Compassionate empathy, not only understanding and feeling, but also being moved to support. While interpreters must guard against overstepping, compassionate empathy can motivate ethical decisions like requesting a pause when a client is overwhelmed. Applied example: during a medical appointment, a deaf patient receives a cancer diagnosis. The doctor's tone is careful but clinical. The deaf client shows a mix of shock and fear. A cognitively empathetic interpreter understands the gravity of the moment and the likely emotional impact. With emotional empathy, the interpreter matches the doctor's calm delivery, but includes appropriate facial expressions to reflect the emotional weight for the deaf client. Compassionate empathy ensures the interpreter remains present, supportive, and steady, even if they are also feeling emotional internally. Example: conflict between participants. An interpreter is facilitating a parent-teacher meeting where the deaf parent is angry over their child's poor treatment at school. The teacher is defensive, and the conversation becomes heated. The deaf parent uses strong emotional signs. The teacher responds tersely. An empathetic interpreter remains present to both parties. They do not minimize the deaf parent's anger by softening signs, nor do they exaggerate the teacher's dismissiveness. Instead, they reflect each message as fully and neutrally as possible. Aware of the emotional undercurrents, they mirror appropriate affect through facial expressions and signing style, without becoming emotionally reactive. After the session, the interpreter may feel drained or concerned. Practicing empathy requires emotional energy, so follow-up self-care is key. Boundaries: empathy versus over-identification. While empathy is vital, interpreters must avoid over-identification, becoming so emotionally involved that it clouds judgment or professionalism. This can happen when interpreters have similar lived experiences as clients or feel a strong sense of injustice. For example, an interpreter who once experienced workplace discrimination may find themselves interpreting for a deaf professional facing bias in a job interview. If empathy turns into advocacy, the interpreter might unconsciously emphasize certain points, adjust tone, or emotionally insert themselves into the interaction. Ethical empathy is the balance point. It allows you to care deeply, respond with compassion, and still maintain your role.